This technique is called the smackdown technique. It's a really fast, easy technique, and I have made another video showing the same technique only with a masculine theme. And this card is showing you how to do the same technique but in a more feminine theme. So for this stamp, I'm using the Blooming with Kindness, and I'm just going to take out my flower. And I think I'll go ahead and use Warmest Wishes for Your Birthday, because we can always have extra birthday cards on hand. Now I've gone ahead and I've cut a piece of Daffodil Delight, and I cut it down at the 4 1/4 mark, just so that it opens in a little bit of a different direction. I've taken a piece of our new Tangelo Twist cardstock. I love this color, and I've whipped it through the Bake Shop with the embossing folder so I can get a pretty background. Now I am going to take a piece of my white organza ribbon, and I'm just going to tie it around the edge, and I just want a knot. The trick I find for making knots is to hold it like a cross and put your finger in the center, then bring that over and under and keep holding it down in the center and pull it at a diagonal. And then you get a perfect knot every time. I'm going to trim the edges. I'm going to slide that down a little bit. Okay. So we're going to put that onto our card base. Give it a good little rub-a-dub. All right. Now I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock. What did I cut this at? Been so long I can't remember. This is cut at 3 3/4 by 3 1/2, which means I would have cut this at 4 by 3 3/4 so that it mats in there perfectly, and that's going to go on the front of the card like this. So we'll set this piece aside and that one too. And now the smackdown technique begins. So we're going to use the flower, and we're going to start with our Daffodil Delight because we want to start with our lightest color first. So I'm going to ink up my flower, and I'm going to smack down and then just smack down all around it. Because the whole purpose of this technique is you're using your stamp as an applicator for the ink. You're applying the ink to your paper as opposed to just using this as an image. You're using the stamp to apply the ink to create a background. So your images are going to be quite loose. They're not going to be perfect, and you don't want them to be. You're just creating a pretty background. And this is a brand new Daffodil Delight ink pad, which is very exciting. It means that there's lots of ink going on here. And I'm just stamping off until there's no more color. You don't want any more color left on your stamp. So you see, that's almost pretty just like that, isn't it? Really nice. Next, I'm going to go into my Tangelo Twist, one of our new 2014-2016 colors, and I'm going to do the same thing. Now, because this ink is quite a bit darker, I am going to stamp off on my scrap paper first, and then I'm going to do the same thing, smack down and smack down all around it. So can you see how pretty that is? And it's just filling in the paper with beautiful color, and you can lightly see the images. Stamp off, and now again just smack down all around. And as I said in my other video with this technique, this is a really great technique to make a really fast background. It's a great technique for a new stamper. It's a good technique if it's a cold winter's day and you're shaking a little bit. It's a really fun technique. Look at that pretty background. Just imagine the possibilities that you can do with your ink and stamps. And that's the other beautiful thing about this technique, is you don't need anything fancy-pantsy. All you need are your stamps, your ink, and your paper. All right. Now I'm going to take my black stays on. And where do I want to put this now? I'm going to stamp every piece, part of it's so pretty, I don't know where to stamp it. I'm going to stamp it in this corner. Warmest wishes on your birthday. Really nice. Okay. Okay, just adhering that to my basic black cardstock. And now I am putting this onto my card base. Alright, I want to use the same image and I want to have a flower popped off. I'm taking my Tangelo twist and I'm inking up my stamp again, and I'm going to stamp it on a piece of Designer Series paper. This is a new pattern and it's called Park Lane. Really fun, really nice. And I'm going to stamp it on the yellow side because basically the paper is coloring the flower for me. Then I'm going to take my fancy pantsy scissors. These are called our paper snips, and I love them. And I'm going to cut that excess off. Now I'm going to cut around my flower, and I actually find cutting is really relaxing. Some people don't, but I find it relaxing. This is called fussy cutting when you're trimming something like this. And the trick when you're cutting is to move the paper as well as your scissors. Just move your paper around. So here's my piece already cut out. I stamped it a second time, and this time when I cut it out, I just cut out the center piece, and all I did is I just kind of followed around the petals kind of willy-nilly, no real pattern, but this way I can stack it on top. How cool does that look? That looks really neat. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and stick this onto our card. Okay, I'm going to grab some Stampin' Dimensionals. And I'm going to stick 4 on the back here. Okay, so I'm going to stick my flower right on there like that. And then my second piece. Now I'm going to line it up on the image of the flower below it. Yes, there we go. I love how that looks with the 3D. Okay, and now finally we're going to need a couple of leaves. So all I'm doing is I'm using my 1 3/8 punch. This is the old style of our Stampin' Up! Punches. I'm just tucking in my circle again, and I'm punching it out just like that, and I'm just going to pinch it in the center. And I'm just going to use my multi-purpose glue because it's handy, and I'm just going to stick that on there. And the last thing we're going to do is add a little bit of dazzling diamond glitter because that makes me really happy. And I'm just going to push down on my 2-way glue pen for a minute just to get that glue rolling. Oops, there it goes. And I'm literally going to just kind of scribble because it doesn't have to be perfect, because we just want to get some sparkle on there just to give it some shazam. I think that should be good. Sprinkle on the glitter, tap it off. I think that turned out really pretty. So I've just taken a piece of computer paper for my inside, and I've cut it at 5 1/4 by 4. So now I have a pretty decorative piece on the inside for writing my message, and there's my card. So check out my other video where I did the same technique, only I did it in a masculine theme using the By the Tide stamp set, and I think you're going to enjoy that as well. I also have a ton of samples with this technique on my blog at www.serenestamper.com. If you just go to my search button and type in Smackdown, it will pull up the post that has all of the samples. Give it a shot, have fun, and happy stamping!